It is the SMT Media Network, folks. We're going to be talking about the Bucks and the Mavs, and it kind of played out the way that we kind of thought it would, right? Giannis was dominating. Dame was dominating. They really did a nice job offensively, getting easy points out in transition, knocking down shots. Dame looking pretty good and helping his teammates, get opportunities. Kyrie was fantastic. Kyle Kuzma played pretty good. For the Mavericks, Kyrie. For the Bucks, it's always Giannis. It was a typical game. The first quarter, the Bucks, I think, were up one possession maybe. The Mavs kept it close, or maybe the Mavs were up, I think. Kyrie was definitely a big part of this. And I think with respect to the way the game played out, it just wore on the Bucks. Or the Bucks just wore on the Mavs, I should say. The Mavs just couldn't compete offensively. Defensively, they don't have their bigs, their best players, and AD and such. It's just too much. Trying to stop a guy like Giannis is damn near impossible when you don't have your paint defense, right? So I applaud Kyrie for trying and putting in the effort and leading his team, but it's just too much. And Klay knocked down some shots. Just couldn't deal with, Dame, couldn't deal with Giannis. They were just too much, getting to their spots, running their plays, their sets. They just couldn't compete with that, and defensively, I think the Bucks were just better because of it, right? They've got their players, they've got their stars. And just a guy like Kyrie can only do so much, right? He's one guy. Klay's not enough to really support them offensively. They really do need Anthony Davis, right? An anchor defensively and a huge staple of what they'll do offensively as well. So once AD is back, I think the trajectory for the Mavericks is very different. I think they're a playoff team, right? And they can make a run to the Western Conference Finals. If AD is healthy, that's a big if, right? We're waiting. It's been weeks he's been out. But we'll have to see what that looks like. Transition to get back and get in shape. And, game shape and stuff like that is very different. But Kyrie has been carrying. It's not enough to beat a teams like the Bucks. With Giannis, who was getting whatever he wanted, making his shots, getting to his spots. Dame finding his teammates, knocking down threes. It was just too much. And, the supplemental guys from the Bucks were actually pretty good. So the balance of Giannis' scoring and Dame's scoring, along with the other guys kind of doing enough, it's why they won by such a substantial margin, So looking forward at these teams and kind of the direction they're going, right? The Bucks are now 34-25. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They've basically been this type of team over the course of the last several months after that really tough start. They're probably looking to close the gap between them and the Knicks. Ideally, they probably want to finish third in the East. They're probably fine finishing fourth. I don't think it's a big deal. They're still, better than, in my opinion, better than the Pacers, Pistons, Heat, Magic, kind of those back end, teams that are going to sneak in the playoffs in the plan. So my expectation is that the Bucks likely will finish fourth at worst, possibly finish third if they get hot and the Knicks start to falter, which is a possibility, right? That could happen. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it could. The Knicks are also 7-3 in their last 10. The Knicks can't beat the best teams. But they do beat the teams that they should, right? So we'll have to see how that plays out, long as the Bucks can stay healthy. Now, in respect to the Mavericks, totally different situation, right? 32-29. They've only won 6 of their last 10 games, and it's been tough for them, right? Without AD, trading away Luka, they just don't have the horses, right, to compete with some of the better teams. But if they keep their head above water, if they're able to tread, in the time while AD is still out, when he does come back, they're going to be a much better team. They're better than the Wolves. They're better than the Kings. In my opinion, they're better than the Warriors and the Clippers when they're healthy. And I think they're a matchup nightmare for teams like the Rockets and the Grizzlies, right? Because the pedigree of Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson, I put them ahead. I think in a series against the Lakers, that's really interesting. I still would give the edge to the Mavericks as a complete team, right? If AD gets healthy and gets things going, right, and they get into the playoffs, and that's a matchup that can happen, guys. Like, there's a version of this where the Lakers finish second or third, and the Mavericks are a play-in team, or they finish a upper seed or higher seed, lower seed, however you want to look at it, 8th, 7th, whatever, and they get a matchup with some of those teams, right? But we'll have to see how it plays out. For now, I think the Mavs are just trying to find a way to keep their head above water. The Bucks are much better off in terms of just health-wise and the direction they're going. But man, two teams in very, very different situations. So that's kind of my take on it. I wanted to offer my commentary. What do you guys think? Where do the Mavs finish through the rest of the season? You know, is AD going to come back, you know, soon enough and get this team right, get some wins, then get into the playoffs? Or do you think they're on the outside looking in? And with respect to the Bucks, you think they could finish third or fourth within the East? Do you think there's variability there? Does anybody pass them? And what kind of noise do you think they make in the playoffs? Let me know. Sound off in the comment section. Be interested to read what you guys have to say on this. Like, share, subscribe, check out more of our videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.